All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi's Stadium as we wrap up a Thursday down here in Ninerland, and we'll talk about everything that happened down here today. First, of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue you're going to find. Get some brisket chili. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Tell them the Krug sent you. We're also brought to you by Sharp Corners, Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California on the Monterey Peninsula. Thank you to Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264. All right, let's talk about Thursday. The Thursday that was here in Ninerland. You know, for me, it started listening to the Football Hour on KMBR with Greg Papa and Greg Silver and Tim Ryan. And Tim brought up a number of good points about the Bears. He really did. He talked about, well, first of all, the Niners' main issue is their run defense. The run fits haven't been there. There's been too many missed tackles, too many missed assignments. After the 65-yard run from James Cook, that was kind of the backbreaker. That was the backbreaker in Buffalo. I mean, you can't take a lot away from that Buffalo game because the conditions were so bad. But nonetheless, the Niners weren't good enough. And they're going to have to be a whole lot better this week if they're going to beat the Bears. In fact, the 49ers gave up 100% red zone touchdown percentage over the last 2 weeks. 9 for 9, Green Bay and Buffalo went in the red zone as far as scoring touchdowns. And I asked Nick Sorensen today about it. And I told him, I said, this is a crisis. I mean, you can't be worse than giving up 100% touchdown percentage in the red zone over the last 2 weeks. And I asked Nick about it. Here's what he had to say. The red zone is just, 9 for 9 the last 2 weeks. 100%. It can't get worse. It's a crisis situation. What is there a solution? Is there an answer?
We're looking at everything. There's, whatever it needs to be done, we're trying. We got to same thing. Same as the run. Same as not taking the ball away. Same as third down. These situational parts of our defense have to get better. And it doesn't matter who's in there. We got to coach it better. We got to execute better. So look at every aspect of it, evaluate everything, looking at ourselves even more throughout what we've done. Is there things we need to change? Do we just need to tighten up what we're doing? So we're just evaluating. And then it's also your opponent. Does that apply to who you're playing? So it's not good. It's not good enough. We have to get it better.
All right, there's Nick Sorensen. He owned it. He understands the seriousness of it. And he understands that I'm not picking on him or trying to highlight the negative. It's 100% red zone touchdown percentage is unacceptable. Period. That's it. End of story. Caleb Williams is clearly getting better. He's forced the second most tackles of any quarterback in the league. He's been really, really good. And yet, at times he's looked really lost. Chicago has lost 6 in a row. They got rid of their offensive coordinator. They got rid of their head coach. Thomas Brown is now running the show. They've lost 6 in a row, and they're going to come to Levi's hell-bent on getting a win. Now, the Niners are struggling as well. Their defensive line will be without Kevin Givens, without Javon Hargrave, without Nick Bosa. The bottom line is 49ers have to stop DeAndre Swift. They'll use them on jet sweeps. They'll use them on a lot of different ways. They'll do jet sweeps to DJ Moore. They've got Keenan Allen. They've got Cole Kmet. They've only had 9 turnovers all year. So the big loss for the Bears is they lost Andrew Billings, their big defensive tackle, and they lost Jaquan Brisker, their starting safety, and that has hurt them dramatically. But the Niners need to score points against this defense. Even without Billings and Brisker, this Bears defense is decent. The numbers don't look very good, but they're a really good red zone defense. In fact, they're the number 2 red zone defense in the league. Gervon Dexter from Florida, the rookie, is really, really solid. Montez Sweat off the edge is a beast. TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds will blitz. Both of them have great speed. They're very good on third down defense at getting off the field. And they're really good in the red zone. As I said, they're the number 2 red zone defense in the NFL. The Bears have 19 takeaways and only 9 turnovers all year. The Niners are -6 in turnovers the last 2 weeks. So, that just can't continue. You're not going to win any games if you're -6 in turnovers over a 2-week span. You're -3 in any game, you're going to lose. I'd love to see the stats. The win percentage for teams that are -3 in turnovers has to be in the teens. It's very, very low. You can't win that way, and the Niners have been playing that way. So they get a Bears team that has offensive weapons. Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift, Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. They fired Shane Waldron. They fired Matt Eberflus. Thomas Brown is the interim head coach. He's been in charge of the Bears offense for the last 3 weeks. This Bears team's better than you think. They've lost 6 in a row, but 2 or 3 of them have been in heartbreaking fashion. They lost to Washington on a Hail Mary, where the Bears defensive back was celebrating as the play was actually going on. They lost to Green Bay on a blocked field goal. They lost in overtime in Week 12 to Minnesota. They lost to Detroit last week when Eberflus failed to call a timeout and kick a field goal with 30 seconds left in the game, inexplicably, which obviously led to his dismissal. So the Bears are better than their record. You know, this could have been a much better season for both these teams, both the Niners and the Bears. The Niners, of course, have lost 3 NFC West games this year, all of them which they led in the fourth quarter. The big difference between these teams is the red zone. Chicago is 3rd in red zone touchdown percentage, 66.6% over the last 3 weeks, with Brown as the OC. They're up at 83%. With Brown as the OC the last 3 weeks, and Williams is playing much better. So they're 66.6% red zone touchdown percentage for the year, but since Brown took over as the OC 3 weeks ago, their touchdown percentage in the red zone is 83.3%. So Keenan Allen's been really hot lately. DJ Moore is their number 1 target. The Niners are 27th in the NFL in red zone touchdown percentage, giving up a 48.8% touchdown percentage. And over the last, I should say scoring at 48.8% touchdown percentage. Over the last 3 weeks, the Niners are at 57.1% scoring in the red zone. So it's better than it's been, but it's still not very good. Chicago's got a pretty good defense. They allow 20 points per game over the last 3 weeks, 24.3 over the season. Their defensive line has been struggling the last month. They're 9th in scoring defense. The Niners' defense has allowed 31 points a game over the last 3 games, 3rd worst in the NFL. They're 24th in points per game allowed for the year, giving up 24.8. But the Niners are giving up 31 a game. 31 a game in the last 3 weeks. It's just not good enough. Couple other things. Today at practice, Lenore, Greenlaw, and Hufanga all practiced, getting ready for Sunday. Bosa and Trent Williams did not practice. So we'll see. Niners, of course, are 5-7. They were 4-point favorites. Bears are 4-8. Niners lead the series all time, 35-32, and 1 tie. Turnovers are going to be a big part of this thing, you would think. Last season, the Niners were great at taking the ball away. This year, they're 20th in turnover margin. The Bears are 4th in turnover margin. So when the Niners win the turnover battle, they win the game. And when they're even or where they lose the turnover battle, they lose the game. So that's a huge factor on Sunday for sure. Without CMC, without Elijah Mitchell, without J.P. Mason, the Niners will lean on Isaac Guerrero, Patrick Taylor, and Izzy Abanikanda, who was just signed. Guerendo's averaging 5.9 a carry this year. In Week 6 against Seattle, he had 10 carries for 99 yards. He had 14 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown in Week 8 against the Cowboys. The Niners are hoping Guerrero can bust out. It'll be great to see. I'll say keep an eye on Izzy Abanikanda because he's got 4.26 speed, and at 217 pounds, I'm eager to see what Izzy can do. Also, there was The Athletic had an NFL Players Anonymous poll where they polled 110 NFL players, and they asked a bunch of questions. One of the questions they said is, who's the most annoying player in the NFL? C.J. Gardner-Johnson got 21% of the vote. 4 Niners got votes. Greenlaw got a vote. Debo got a vote. Kittle got a vote. And Jawan Jennings got 2 votes for Jawan Jennings. So there you have it. Brock Purdy did not speak today. He will speak tomorrow on Friday. A couple other notes. Curtis Robinson was nominated for the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. Great, terrific guy, and I hope he wins it. And this is interesting as well. Brian Griese, according to Chase Sr., He says that Brian Griese, the Niner quarterback coach, is a top contender for the Michigan offensive coordinator job. Michigan's head coach Sharon Moore fired Kirk Campbell on Tuesday, which is odd considering they just beat Ohio State. But they're saying Griese is a top contender for the OC job, and it makes you wonder why Griese would leave San Francisco. Why would he leave Kyle Shanahan? Why would he leave Brock Purdy? Why would he leave the NFL to go be an offensive coordinator in college? That's interesting. I'm not saying that that's an indication that things are not going to go well here, but when coaches start to bail out that you would think have no real reason to bail out, it does make you wonder about the future of coaches on this staff and just the future of this regime as it's intact currently. So that is interesting. We'll speculate more on that in the days and weeks ahead. But Brian Griese, a top contender for the Michigan Wolverines offensive coordinator position. As I said, Brock will talk tomorrow. Kyle will talk again tomorrow. The Niners will have one more practice tomorrow before they get ready to play the Bears on Sunday. 49ers are 5-7 and desperate for a win. And the Bears are 4-6. 49ers are 4-point favorites. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corners, Sports Cards and Collectibles for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.